Hello everyone, I'm meteorologist Charlie Ironmonger. Thank you so much for joining me today for your 1 p.m. news and weather update from the First Alert Desk. Now we've got news out of Pitt County where a new hire has been announced for the Animal Services Director position, and it is a former Animal Services Director from another county. A Pitt County spokeswoman confirmed that Kimberly Mitchell was hired as the county's Animal Services Director. Her first day on the job was Monday. Now, Mitchell was fired as director of the Lenoir County SPCA on July 28th. Days after the removal, the SPCA president put out a plea for volunteers, saying the shelter was a mess and that, quote, due to extremely poor past management, the back of house operations are in shambles, end quote. Now, Pitt County says Mitchell is in employee orientation this week and unavailable for an interview. Mitchell did say in a statement, quote, I am excited to join Pitt County Animal Services. This program has much potential and room for growth. I look forward to working on staffing challenges so we can begin filling the calendar with community adoption events. It takes everyone to make an animal services program successful, end quote. Now, Mitchell replaces Tiffany Peterson, who resigned in October after being there for just over a year. And now we need to turn to international relations as Canada's Prime Minister Mark Carney is set to visit with Chinese leader Xi Jinping about recalibrating trade relations between Canada and China. NBC's Janice Mackey-Freyer has more from Beijing.
Canada's Prime Minister Mark Carney is set to visit China to meet with Xi Jinping to recalibrate relations at a time when trade ties with the U.S. are in free fall. It shows how the world has changed with President Trump's trade policies. Canada's relations with China have arguably been the worst of any Western country, but Canada and China are the only two countries to push back on U.S. tariffs. So in that regard, they find themselves in the same corner. The trip is the first by a Canadian leader to China since 2017, aimed at turning the page on disputes that have divided them over the past decade, including the detention of 2 Canadians here after the arrest in Vancouver of a Huawei executive on a U.S. warrant. There have also been trade disputes over EVs and canola, as well as Canadian accusations of election interference by China. But the hawkish stance of Canadian foreign policy toward China has shifted with President Trump's trade war and threats of annexing Canada to become the 51st state. A recent poll in Canada showed a change in sentiment toward China, with 54% of Canadians favoring closer ties, numbers that pollsters say are being driven mostly by President Trump. Still, Carney will navigate a political minefield here, a week after the raid in Venezuela, and with President Trump wanting to buy Greenland to prevent China and Russia from getting it. Critics have urged that behind closed doors, Carney needs to maintain Canada's positions on issues like human rights and Taiwan, even as he seeks a reset with China and all the trade opportunities likely to come with it. Janice Mackey-Freyer, NBC News, Beijing.
Thank you, Janice, for that report. We now turn to your weather forecast. It's sunny out there today. Air temperatures on their way up thanks to the combination of sunshine and a south-southwesterly wind. But we do have rain on the way coming in tomorrow. So take advantage of the nice weather while we have it today. Currently looking at the mid to upper 50s for most inland areas. As we get closer to the water, a little bit cooler. Right now we've got 51 degrees in Manio, 52 in Beaufort, 53 in Oriental, 54 in Hatteras. So there is a little bit of a cooler temperature profile as you get closer to the water, but that's expected to happen this time of year. Right now, winds accelerating from where we were just an hour ago. Now seeing wind speeds between around 7 to 15 miles per hour. The winds again bringing in warmer air, so it's only going to be doing us some favors if you feel a breeze, at least in terms of your air temperatures. Getting back to a fairly comfortable upper 50s, possibly low 60s range over the next few hours. Of course, we do have lots of sunshine planned for today. The sunshine goes away, well, obviously after sunset, but from a cloud perspective, the cloud cover will really start to build over eastern North Carolina early tomorrow morning. Here's a look at how it's going to come together. By the time we get to around 8 to 9 a.m., we are looking at mostly to completely cloudy skies. And then everything just continues to get thicker as rain showers will show up for parts of eastern North Carolina as early as around 9 to 10 a.m. They're going to be very light drops initially. We'll see more, I would say, measurable rain, more impactful rain coming up over the tail end of the day. I will see again some spotty rain lingering through 1, 2, 3 p.m. But as we head towards 4, 5, and 6 p.m., that's when we're going to get a push for more moisture coming in out of the south. And that's going to mark our first round of, I would say, heavier rain. Moderate downpours expected coming in by the time we get to really your Wednesday evening. It'll be the first of 2 rounds of rain we'll see overnight Wednesday night into Thursday morning. But here's a look at those light showers I was mentioning earlier. Air temperatures again going to be warm during this time period. Looking again at most likely the upper 50s, mid to upper 50s coming up for your Wednesday. Here's Wednesday at 5 p.m. And again, the heavier rain starting to show up. Not only are you seeing some darker greens on the screen, but even some yellows and oranges indicating larger drop size and faster rainfall rates. Let's fast forward it a little bit further, and that whole boundary works its way off the water, off the coast, and then we look back towards the west, and we see not only some greens, but some pinks and some light blues as well, indicating the potential for perhaps maybe a few snowflakes further back towards the west. Now, could those snowflakes come down in eastern North Carolina? Yeah, they could, but regardless of whether they come down or not, getting them to stick on the ground is going to be a very, very difficult proposition considering our air temperatures overnight, Wednesday night into Thursday morning, will remain well above freezing by several degrees. So getting our ground temperatures to a point where they can support snow actually sticking to the ground or even ice forming is not looking likely. Now, of course, air temperatures are going to tank as we head through your Thursday, but by that point, all the rain is gone, the moisture's gone, and we are going to be left again with fairly dry air mass. So here's how it all kind of comes together. 3 systems moving into not just eastern North Carolina, but across the east coast of the U.S. Of course, we will have the impacts, really 2 of those 3 really kind of bring us the rain as we head through your Wednesday night into your Thursday. But again, snow flurries, while we may see again a few snowflakes come down during the very early hours of Thursday morning, it's not going to amount to anything. We're not looking again at any sort of sledding type event. Getting anything to stick on the grass is going to be quite a challenge because overnight lows in the mid 30s. That's not 32 degrees. No matter how hard you try, it is going to be insanely difficult to get water to freeze with air temperatures above freezing. Just physically, it's difficult to do. So again, if you're hearing rumblings of snow flurries, understand that ground temperatures are going to be too warm to support any of those snowflakes actually sticking on the ground. Yeah, if you wake up early prior to, I would say around maybe 5 a.m., certainly prior to 6 a.m. Thursday morning, you may stick your head out the window, head out the door, and just take a look out. And you may end up seeing some snowflakes mixed in with some light raindrops. But we're not looking at a major snow event for eastern North Carolina. Just not this go around. The timing of the cold air and the moisture not really matching up how they need to in order to create that snow potential. But air temperatures Thursday and Friday going to be cold enough to warrant snow jackets. 40 degrees on Thursday, 43 on Friday. Overnight lows between the 2 days down at 20 degrees. Inland areas could certainly see the upper teens for, I would say, locations north of Highway 64. And then on Saturday, we warm back up again briefly. 56 degrees Saturday, cools right on back down to 46 degrees on Sunday as another cold front rolls through. And we will hang on to below average temperatures, not only for just Sunday, but for Martin Luther King Jr. Day, along with the following Tuesday as well. That's all we have time for today's 1 p.m. News and weather update from the First Alert Desk. I want to thank you all so much for joining me. We'll be back with more news and weather coming up at the top of the hour. Until then, have a fantastic rest of your Tuesday.